Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's been a minute since we've done a video. I've been doing lots of fishing. I was really optimistic this year, just like last year, that I was going to film most, if not all, my tournaments. So I'm going to tell you right now, that hasn't happened. Anyone that films tournaments knows the stresses and that it brings, the anxiety of camera shy fish or whatever it might be. So we haven't really filmed much. We actually have fished, I think, maybe 4 or 5 weeknighters. We almost won one the last week, so my buddy and I jumped in one we'd never been to before as far as the lake, and finished second place. I think we lost by 0.4 pounds, so other than that, we haven't really had any good finishes, so we're hoping to finish the year strong in the weeknighters. We've done 2 BFLs in the Michigan division so far. First one we did okay. I think we finished 25th out of 150 or so, and the last one we finished 72nd out of our 150 or so. So nothing great, nothing glamorous or that, but we're having fun, we're learning a lot, and we feel like we're making improvements this year, and that's really important because we are after making improvements each and every year, trying to get better on the water as much as we can, not only by just fishing as much as possible, but fishing with new people and taking a new approach on how we practice and how we go about our day on the water. So what are we at for today? We are kind of just going to do a intro video. So for people that know, I'm kind of on a hunt to explore some new areas across the US. So this year we're fishing the Northeast region. In future years we're probably going to end up going down south, so we'll hit Florida. We'll also hit some Alabama stuff. We'll hit Gunnersville and all that. We're kind of just trying to get better diversified across the US as far as fishing tournaments. So this year it's the Northeast. Our first stop is Lake Champlain, so that's going to be the focus of this video. We have one other lake that we're also going to, we're super geeked about, but we're going to leave that on the down low for now as far as what it is. We'll get to that when we get there. But for Lake Champlain, so we are heading there here in a week or so, a little over a week, and we are super excited. We'll be fishing the BFL there. We're going as a co-angler, so we're really just going to go with an open mind and try to learn as much as physically possible on the lake. The lake is massive. We will go into a deep dive of the lake, kind of go through the different sections of the lake and kind of how each set up. So let's deep dive. Let's do a little lake look. Okay, so we have the Humminbird Fish Smart app pulled up here. We're going to kind of just do a quick lay of the lake. We're going to kind of talk about the different regions of the lake, potential for what we're expecting in each of these regions, and then just kind of go into some baits once we kind of decide what areas of the lake we're probably most likely going to be spending some time in. So just for reference here, I'll scroll out a little bit. You can see Burlington is the main town there in Vermont. Michigan, we are way over here. I believe I have a very long drive. I'm not sure how long, but I believe somewhere around 10 hours or so. Our takeoff is here in Plattsburgh, New York. And you can kind of see this white line running through is the cutoff between New York and Vermont. So this lake is divided by 2 different state waters. And this lake itself is primarily broken into 3 different regions. So there's the North region, which is everything north of Plattsburgh. There's a midsection, and then there's a south section, Ticonderoga area. So I'll kind of just go through each of these sections here. So we'll start in the north then. We'll say Plattsburgh is kind of our cutoff. So as you go north from Plattsburgh, you see all these different islands in that. Majority of this water up here is Vermont water. But this is a notorious region for people that do well fishing offshore in the summertime. I know a lot of this region has some deep boulders, deep structure, anywhere between 25 to 30 foot of water, and they do generally pretty well with smallmouth. There's also a lot of opportunity out that way for an alewife bite. So I know these alewives kind of push offshore and suspend. So there's a good chance to catch some smallmouth as well up in this north region on a spy bait or a jerk bait or something like that. So heading south, we'll say this next region is kind of the main lake from Plattsburgh all the way down to, I believe it's right here, the Lake Champlain Bridge at Port Henry. And this region is not known to be fished in tournaments. It's very deep. There's not really a lot of flat to fish. or any sorts of fishable water. I know people potentially catch smallmouth in that suspended in deep water, but this region is kind of left unknown and left kind of unbothered for most tournaments. So now we'll go down to the south end. So south of this Champlain Bridge, all the way down, is the Ticonderoga branch. This is quite a long run from Plattsburgh, but it has had history of producing good bags of largemouth for people. There's a lot more flats, a lot more grass opportunity. At least there has been in the past. A lot of the current research I've been reading, these fish are kind of more nomadic now. The grass and the water levels have kind of mixed up a little bit of how things set there now. So to my understanding, these fish aren't as patternable as they have been in the past, making it a little bit more difficult. But just to kind of bring it into light, based on previous tournaments, it's anywhere from 20 to 25% of the field generally heads to the south end to target largemouth. There is a possibility to mix in some smallmouth, and then about 75 to 80% are going to be up here in the north end of the lake from Plattsburgh up. So that's kind of the lay of the lake. I'll kind of go into some of the baits in that I think are going to have high potential. Obviously, we have to kind of understand how things are set. Water temperature, kind of just the current weather pattern that's been going on, kind of have a better understanding of the conditions to kind of dial these baits in. But we're looking forward to it, so let's go into some baits. All right, on to the fun part. We're going to go into the baits of choice that we're expecting to use on Champlain. These are kind of just confidence baits. As I said, I'm going as a co-angler, so I will be paired with a pro, and that pro is going to be able to make the decision on what end of the lake he wants to fish. So if he wants to fish the north end, if he wants to fish Ticonderoga, if he wants to somehow fish suspended fish in the middle, I don't really have any say. I just go along with it, and I try to fish my confidence baits and fish them as thoroughly as I can. So my first confidence bait, first bait that I'm definitely going to have tied on, is the drop shot. So I have here the Berkeley flatworm and the Berkeley flat-nosed minnow. This max scent on these baits is just notorious for catching a lot of big smallmouth here at Lake St. Clair, and I know everywhere in New York, upstate New York, especially St. Lawrence River, things like that, the Berkeley flatworm and the flat-nosed minnow are notorious, along with all the other max scent for catching big smallmouth. So we'll be pairing that up on a drop shot. What's kind of nice about fishing the drop shot is I can fish it in any types of water and or weeds that I'm fishing. So if I'm fishing 30 foot, I can pair it with a 3/8 ounce drop shot weight. If I'm fishing in 10 foot grass, I can kind of change it up. I could do a weedless if I need to, put it down to a 1/4 ounce, whatever it might be. So bait number one is the drop shot. The second bait we have is the coffee tube. I can see this coming into play. I'm probably going to be using a couple different variations of the coffee tube or other types of tubes, but a tube is kind of a long lost art. A lot of people have drifted away from it in the smallmouth world, and it's just got a lot of history of catching big fish, and it's something I have a lot of confidence in. So once again, this is something I can throw anywhere. So if I'm fishing grass, I can even do Texas rig. I can do any sort of weight. I can do as light as an 1/8 ounce. And if I'm fishing 25, 30 foot, I can put a 3/8 half ounce weight in there and throw it down there. So the tube's definitely going to come into play, and we look forward to throwing it. Bait number 3, we have the spy bait. So this is the Duo Realis 80, kind of in a sexy shad color. This one's actually from my good buddy Evan. I stole it from him and ended up catching a pretty nice smallmouth my first tournament this year. But the spy bait's going to be a huge player. So this lake kind of sets up like a great lake. And a lot of factors are related to the alewife migration. So as I said, these alewives are kind of Great Lakes forage for these smallmouths, primarily some largemouth, but they'll go out and suspend on Champlain. So a spy bait's a good bait because it allows you to kind of control your depth. You can fish it high in the water column, you can let it go down, you can jump it up and down, you can do a lot of different types of retrieves with the spy bait. It's something I have a lot of confidence in. So I definitely can see the spy bait coming into play on Champlain, and I really hope to throw it because I know a lot of people kind of shy away from it. It's definitely not a comfort bait for a lot of people, but here's another confidence bait. Here we go. Let's hope to get this spy bait thrown at Champlain. Down to a few more baits. So the next one is going to be the wacky worm. So here I have the 5-inch wacky worm from Storm Surge Bait Company, one of my sponsors for this year. They produce a great product, so if you would like to order, save 10% off, use my code Patrick10. But the wacky worm is definitely going to come into play. It's something that fish get so conditioned to, but you can really present it in a lot of different ways. I could put that on a drop shot, as I previously talked. I could Texas rig it. I could throw it normal wacky style. I could throw it as a Nico. There's a lot of different things I can do with the wacky rig, so I really think that the worm is going to come into play, and we certainly are going to have it tied on. On to the last bait that we're going to cover. So here we have the Kytek Fat. Let me see if I can get a good angle. 3.8 inch. So these are kind of three of my favorite colors. This is an alewife kind of imitator. Sexy shad. And then a perch kind of deal. So kind of have a good mix there. Swim bait's another one, kind of like a spy bait. You can really adjust kind of how you fish it. You could throw it on a heavier ball head, you know, a 3/8 half ounce. You could throw it down to an 1/8 ounce ball head with a 3.3 trailer. A lot of confidence in the swim bait, so I know this is another Northern St. Clair tactic that we'll definitely have in our pocket and ready to go for Champlain. So that kind of wraps up part 1 of 2 for our Lake Champlain series. So yeah, we went through the lake, we kind of broke down the lake, we shared a little bit of knowledge on kind of what we expect to be throwing. You know, we're expecting it to be a summer pattern, so these fish should be pretty fired up. We just had to make sure we're around the right ones and presenting our bait as good as we can. But this is our part 1 of 2. Part 2 is going to capture, hopefully I'm allowed to film on the tournament day, but I'm definitely going to get the drive, and I'm going to do a recap after of how things go. So we're really looking forward to it. We are camping, so we are going to have to go check out our tent and our air mattress and make sure everything keeps water out and doesn't sink in when I have to lay on it. So we got to go get ready. We're excited, and as always, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. P. Ricky Fishing, greatly appreciate. We're doing this to just share our story and share our love for the game. So, tight lines, and everyone, God bless.